Only one god made the ultimate sacrifice. 3 versions of Odin, 3 completely different takes on what makes someone powerful. Marvel made him a king, God of War turned him into a paranoid schemer, and the original myths, well, they created something neither version could fully capture. By the end of this video, you'll see why Marvel had to strip away his shapeshifting, why God of War made him the ultimate manipulator, and how the original myths created an Allfather so complex that modern stories can only handle him in pieces. So let's start with his appearance and looks. Marvel's approach is pure spectacle. Golden armor, red cape, polished eyeplate. This Odin screams king of the gods. When he's not on the throne, they strip all that away. He's just an old man in regular clothes, showing the transition from king to father. God of War's take is completely different. This Odin looks like a mob boss who never leaves his office. Working robes, a fur hat, and basic leather eye patch. There's no glamour here. The tattoos are the real storytelling element. Runes on his neck and arms that connect to his raven network. Everything about his design says, I make deals in dark rooms and I always win. Now the original myth, and here is where it gets interesting because Myth Odin actually has 2 completely different looks, depending on what he's doing. There's Traveller Odin, and he's all about blending in. Blue-grey cloak with a hood pulled low, worn travelling boots and a staff-like spear. No eye patch in the old stories, just the missing eye, raw and purposeful. And then there's chainmail that gleams and a golden warhelm, Gungnir revealed in all its never-missing glory. Now his character and personality. Marvel's Odin is the father king trying to fix his family's bloody past. He adopts Loki, raises Thor and attempts to rebrand Asgard from conquerors to protectors. But here's his fatal flaw. He never tells his sons how brutal that past actually was. His final scenes show a man who finally understands that sometimes leadership means letting go. God of War Odin is the ultimate manipulator. Charming, funny, and absolutely terrifying. He gives you something first. Knowledge, safety, or a deal. Then charges interest later through betrayal or obedience. He believes that knowing someone means owning them. But he turns people into tools, and tools eventually break. Everything he does comes from one place, pure survival instinct. Myth Odin is the ultimate gambler with wisdom. He trades his eye for knowledge at Mimir's well. He hangs himself on Yggdrasil for 9 days and nights, pierced by his own spear, until he discovers the runes. He's patron of both poets and berserkers, representing both sides of his nature, calculated speech and pure storm. He makes oaths, breaks some where necessary, and shapes entire wars through his valkyries. Now his powers, tools and symbols. Marvel's Odin wields the Odin Force, essentially royal scale magic that can seal realms, strip powers and set enchantments. In his prime, he leads battles with Gungnir, a spear that fires a deadly beam. He controls the Bifrost, deciding who travels between worlds. He can remove Thor's power with a word and enchant Mjolnir so only the worthy can lift it. The trade-off for all his power, the Odin sleep, a deep trance that replenishes his power but leaves him completely vulnerable. God of War's Odin operates as a rune mage and master networker. He casts swords, spies through raven eyes, seals magical contracts, and channels power through his staff. Gungnir in disguise. His real weapon is information and control, although he does shapeshift with impersonating Tyr for years. Magic over muscle every time. Myth Odin has the most complete toolkit. Gungnir is a never-missing oath spear. Draupnir is a ring that multiplies. Hugin and Munin bring daily reports. He works say the magic and charms, shapeshifts, a snake to steal the mead of poetry and an eagle to fly away, and he can send his spirit while the body lies still. Sleipnir, the 8-legged horse, carries him into battle and between worlds. And now family and relationships. Marvel's Odin is the father king carrying deadly secrets. He has Thor, his heir, and Hela, the daughter he buried. Loki enters as his adopted son. His wife Frigga brings warmth and magic, believing in both boys and trying to bridge their differences. He loves his children, but his rule-first parenting wounds them. With Thor he teaches through humiliation. With Loki he mixes genuine care with control, creating the resentment that eventually breaks the family. God of War's Odin treats family like a toolbox. He's Freya's ex-husband. He bound her powers, broke her wings, and turned love into hatred. Father to Thor and Balder, grandfather to Magni, Modi, and Thrud. With Thor, he feeds the fear and drink that keep a weapon dull but obedient. With Balder, he accepts Freya's curse because an invincible son is pretty useful. Even with Atreus or Loki, there is no relation, but he plays the kindly teacher while pulling strings. His approach is simple. If you know someone, you can steer them. His family become leverage. Myth Odin has the most complex family tree. His wife Frig bears Balder and the blind Höður. With Jörð, his side chick, he fathers Thor. His other sons include Vidar, Vali, and Hermuth. And now, key interactions and parallels. Loki. In Marvel, Odin adopts him as a bridge between realms, but secrets and perceived favoritism destroy the family. God of War's Odin uses Atreus as Loki, promising answers while manipulating him towards his own goals. In myth, they're blood brothers. Loki's cunning both helps and harms the gods, making him essential and dangerous. Fenrir and the wolf threat. Marvel features Hela's Fenris in Ragnarok, not Odin's prophesied doom. God of War turns Garm or Fenrir into a crisis Odin tries to exploit for his own survival. Myth Fenrir will devour Odin at Ragnarok, the one death he can't prevent. Valkyries and the dead. Marvel Valkyries are elite warriors serving Odin's command. In God of War, they are corrupted, and he binds them and curses them across realms to twist their purpose. In myth, they're Odin's war policy made flesh, choosing the slain for Valhalla to build his army for the final battle. Hela or Hel. In the MCU, Hela is Odin's buried past returning, his old conquests coming back with a crown. God of War treats Hel as a realm to exploit. In myth, Hel is Loki's daughter and queen of the dead, the one realm Odin cannot rule by force. And Sleipnir, the eight-legged horse. In the MCU, there is a brief cameo as Odin rides to Jotunheim. In God of War, this is not shown as Odin's mount. In myth, Odin's go-to steed across the worlds. Now, Hugin and Munin, the ravens. In the MCU, they appear very few times on screen. Blink and you would miss it. In God of War, they are his active surveillance network. In myth, they are his daily scouts named Thought and Memory. And Odin worries memory may not return. He fears forgetting more than not being able to think. Geri and Freki, the wolves. In the MCU, they don't appear on screen. In God of War, Odin's personal wolves aren't featured. And in myth, Geri and Freki are Odin's wolf companions that lay at his feet. He feeds them meat while he drinks wine and are symbols of war and loyalty. Odin's missing eye. In the MCU, Odin loses his eye in battle with the frost giants. In God of War, Mimir mentioned Odin tried to pull out his eye whilst being high on water laced with mushrooms. Well, if you believe Mimir over Odin, and let's be honest, you probably should. In myth, Odin's eye acts as a trading tool for a drink from Mimir's well, buying wisdom at a permanent cost. And now the Yggdrasil ordeal. In the MCU, this is not depicted, and in God of War, there's no 9-night ordeal shown. In myth, Odin hangs himself from Yggdrasil for 9 nights, pierced by his own spear, without food or drink, until he perceives the runes. And now death and destiny. All three versions lead to the same truth. Every Odin faces a reckoning. Marvel's Odin chooses his ending. He fades quietly on a cliff after one final conversation with Thor and Loki, finally speaking as a father rather than a king. But his death immediately unseals Hela's prison, bringing his buried past back at full strength. In God of War, Odin meets a brutal personal end. In the Great Lodge at Asgard, Kratos and Atreus defeat him. Atreus binds Odin's soul into a marble. Then Sindri arrives, driven by grief over Brock's death, and smashes the stone with a hammer blow. In myth, Odin rides to meet his prophesied doom. When Ragnarok begins, he leads the Einherjar warriors onto the field of Vigrid with Gungnir raised and Sleipnir beneath him. He faces Fenrir the wolf he bound and feared, the fate he tried to prevent. Fenrir devours him, but even the god of plans cannot outplan destiny itself. 3 versions, 3 different answers to the same question. What does it mean to have the power of gods but the limitations of mortals? Which Odin resonates most with you? The king learning to let go, the spider caught in his own web, or the wanderer racing against fate? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.